I definitely wanted to talk to you about ways that, you know, frame versus who you are as a man come together and how you can get what you call genuine burning desire, which I agree with. Um, so when it comes to women, do you think it matters more or which one holds the larger weight? Who you are as a man, like handling your fitness, your finances, um, and then obviously, frame, but which one do you think matters more, your fitness and your finances and a little bit of game to get the girl, or the overall frame that you hold in the relationship with the woman?
Yeah, this is like a question that comes up a lot. People will say, well, what's more important? Money, looks, status, being captivating, I covered a video on my channel on the seven pillars. It's on my podcast, the Unplugged Alphas. It's titled on the book. I think it was the last 3 weeks. I can't say that there's like one or two that like if you're like a Chad, I mean, if you're just like badass, good looking, like natural good looks, women just throw themselves at you. That's all you need. I mean, you can be broke as shit. I mean, you could be incarcerated in jail, and there's these women that will actually letter these dudes in jail and go there to bang them, right? I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Mike Tyson. I can't remember, but it was somebody famous. I'm pretty sure it was Mike Tyson. But the guards said they basically had a rotating door at the front of the jail with women coming in and out to bang this dude, right? So it really depends on a number of things. But I mean, if you're the average guy, you want as much of all of those things as you can possibly get. So back to the point earlier, where you're talking about like, look, if you take a good look at yourself and you're a 6 out of 10, don't even bother with women because you're going to be disappointed. I mean, okay,
Right.
you might have some success, but the success that you're going to have is going to be with like a 4 out of 10. She's going to be so basic, you're not going to be interested in her on a long term basis, or for anything beyond just like a hideaway friends with benefits that you don't even let your friends even know about, sort of thing, right? Because you're too
Right.
embarrassed. So ideally, as a guy, if you want to have a good experience with women, you definitely want to be able to max out on looks, status, frame, money, be captivating, like all of these things.
I completely agree. One thing that's kind of in line with what you said about the pillars, I often call it buckets
Hmm.
because I believe that an individual, I look at it as, buckets that can actually fill up.
Right.
So if you got a guy like I say all the time, I wouldn't cherry paces with Zuckerberg because you can get as rich as you want, but at some point that money doesn't matter anymore. And so you have to be able to fill these other buckets up to be able to get genuine desire across the
Yeah.
board. Because I don't believe a woman can truly respect a super skinny guy that's not very strong in his frame, not very strong in his presence, and it doesn't matter the amount of money that he has. So filling up each individual bucket and understanding that, you can be super fit, but does that last 2 or 3% of body fat really help you when you could have filled the money bucket up or
Hmm.
the frame bucket up?
Yeah, I like to like draw this picture of a wagon wheel. So if you
Uh-huh.
think of an old
Yep.
school wagon wheel that might have like seven spokes on it, you
Right.
want all of those spokes connecting from the hub to the wheel.
Absolutely.
And if you're short on, let's say, two of the spokes, and you're like, if like a 10 out of 10 is like a full reach from the hub to the wheel, then you've maxed out everywhere. I mean, you're not going to get any better than that. You've got full contact. But if you're missing on two or three of the spokes and they're only like 3/4 of the way up and they don't actually reach the wheel, that wheel's not going to rotate probably when you apply pressure and you push it down the road. It's going to sputter and kind of hop along. You might break some of the other spokes. So a real good way to look at it is try to max out on all of them as much as you can, and then all right, cool. If you're missing in some areas, then work on that. Don't cry about it. Don't sulk over it. Don't complain to other people. Don't go looking for reasons why you should be a victim. Double down and get the work done on it. That's why when I say just do the work, that's what I'm talking about. I shouldn't have to spell it out for you. I shouldn't have to tell you what the work needs to be. Like, how many people have called in on my show and they're like, "Hey, Rich, how do I get girls to like message me first?" And it's like, dude, can we talk about your neck beard? Like, what's that all
Right.
about? Like, are you trying to make a woman repellent on your face, right? Oh, I've been doing this, that, and the other thing, and it doesn't really fill in. It's like, okay, so just get rid of it, dude, right? Let's work on a look, right? If you can't develop a nice, sliced out beard that you can get, dialed in right, then move on from it, right? And it's like,
Right.
okay, well, there's always something to look at. There's always something to consider, but People don't want the cold hard truth, man. They want rainbows and butterflies. They want comforting lies. They sell way better than the cold hard truth.
Absolutely. You know, one thing we were talking about before we went on, um, which really lines up with what you're saying right now, is there's a lot of these guys that, you know, they would identify themselves as six. And I'm constantly saying, okay, fine. However, you have women that are six. And I see them all the time in Miami. They're in there. They're not very pretty, but they're in that fucking squat rack and will not let me get in the squat rack until they have finished their workout. These women, a lot of these women are out here fighting just as hard as men are to be attractive, and these are not as attractive women. And my only thing to a guy that thinks he's a six is, bro, you can most likely get to an eight by handling your money and your fitness alone.
Mm-hmm.
And having a job and taking care of your grooming and having a little bit of style and just trying.
Take a shot.
No, seriously.
I saw a video of yours this morning because I knew that we were going to talk, and I wanted to catch up on some of your material because I'm not super familiar with it. And I saw this one. You're like, dude, just take a shower, like smell good, like do some basic stuff.
Bro, it's so true, man. You know, maybe don't smoke weed all day or just it. I think it really starts with like taking accountability for yourself and knowing that nobody's going to come save you.
Yeah.
And I think I say this is it's one of the most freeing days of your life is when you realize that nobody's going to come save you. Mm-hmm. And you can kind of look at that and be kind of cynically smile at it like it's a good thing because it certainly is.
Yeah, that's a great thing because I saw this on a meme a while ago, and I've distilled this a few times, and it looks like this. You get the guys that are like, nobody cares, and they just sulk in it. And then you get the other guys like me that are like, nobody cares, and you just get on with it, sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Right. So there's two different ways to look at it.
Absolutely, you're dead on. I wrote something down, and I feel like it'd be a good transition here. So the progression of manhood, and I want to start at the early age because I think it's important because there's a lot of young guys that watch you, and I've been getting a lot of comments from young guys on my channel. So I think it's important to identify the hand that you're dealt, especially like what you're talking about, neck beard, like whether you have a beard, you don't, you're tall, you're skinny, you're short, you're fat, whatever it is, identify the hand that you're dealt at a young age and then realize what you can work on to craft that hand into a winning hand for yourself, which would tie into your plan to win. What would you say to that for a young man that's really kind of understanding what's out there in the world and then really trying to step out of himself and evaluate what hand he was dealt and trying to figure out how to play it or if he should play it at all?
Yeah, so I call that surrendering. I'm getting feedback somewhere now. Sorry. I don't know if you guys can hear it live, but I'm hearing feedback. It's bizarre. So I call that surrendering. And all that really means is, you get a guy that's like 5'6", and he's like, okay, I'm not going to be like, you can put the sole inserts in your shoes, you can wear certain outfits, you can comb your hair up an extra inch, brush it up and gel it up sort of thing to get the extra height, but you're only ever going to be that high. So you gotta accept it. So one of the stories that I've told, on my channel before is I used to have this friend, this roommate, and we used to call him Pocket Hercules because he was about 5'5", maybe 5'6", with the right shoes on. And he used to be like in his early 20s, he used to be like a fat nerd with a bad haircut that was addicted to drugs and alcohol. And he got no results with women. He got tired of that shit. So he took ownership of his life. And it's one of the reasons why I like the guy so much is because he did so much work. And I saw the pictures before and after. And he basically went from like a pear-shaped nerd with a bad haircut that looked like a total slob to a Chad. I mean, he was a 5'5" Chad, but dude, he was a slayer. Like this guy got way more women than I did when I was living with him. Now there were some women that he was getting with that I wouldn't touch with a, with a 6-foot pole. We used to make fun of him sometimes, but he still scored with a lot of hot women too. And it's like he just knew that he had to max out in every area of his life if he wanted to do good, with the ladies. Like he knew he was short. He knew it. I mean, I'm just under 6'3", and he stood beside me, and he knew that he was short. There's no question about it. I can show you a picture. It was kind of funny. But we'd go out together. We'd run some game. We'd go to the clubs and stuff like that. And he was always talking. He was always cold approaching. He's always making the effort, and he got results. I mean, he probably had to work a lot harder than I did, if I'm being honest. But he did the work. So that's part and part. You know, it's the same thing with guys that lose their hair, right? A lot of guys complain, oh, you know, I get these nerds that call me a bald cell or whatever the hell that is. It's like, dude, you have like I've had more ass in a toilet seat. Like, do you know who you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
to, you dork? It's like,
Oh man.
and it's like
Yeah.
these guys that are like holding on to scraps or they're trying to comb it over or like whatever it is you're
Right.
trying to do. It's like, okay, at some point you've got to surrender to that and just shave your head because there's a lot of dudes out there that women pine for. Rock, Vin Diesel, Bruce Willis. I go right down the list. Jason Statham. I can keep going. Sterling Cooper.
Sterling
You know,
motherfucking Cooper. Yeah,
you know,
buddy.
like there's all
Fuck
these
you,
guys
sir.
out there that look good with a nice, you know, shaved head. And it's like if you own it and you're confident, you know, with it, you're going to do good with it, right?
Yeah. Absolutely, man. I agree with you. And that's kind of the point I was trying to make is like, you should look at the hand you're dealt, even when it comes down to style.
Yeah.
Andrew's got a shaved head. All right, cool. So Andrew looks like a fucking mob boss, which plays to that bad boy effect, whereas Tristan wears suits because he has hair. So me and Tristan are wearing suits. Andrew looks like he's about to kill somebody with a leather jacket, the whole deal, but
Have a
a
look.
lot of that is being intelligent enough to identify the hand you're dealt. You have that beard. I can't grow a beard like that, dude. I can't. Like if I tried, it would look ridiculous. So I don't.
Yeah. So you rock the
And
facial hair that like goes with what you can get.
right, right. You want to play the hand you're dealt to the best ability that you can. A lot of guys wear the neck beard thing because they have two chins. They have a double chin.
Hmm.
So handle the fitness. There's a lot of guys out there. I see guys all the time. They will be, decent height. And I'm looking at them. I'm like, man, it's like seeing a beautiful woman that's fat. You're like, man, under there, she's really pretty.
Hmm.
And I see guys, it's like, man, he's got kind of hunter eyes. He has good dimensions. You can tell under 40 pounds of extra fat. And that's on him.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, most guys evolve to have hunter eyes because I mean, if you're around today, it's because your mom, your grandmother, your great grandmother, they banged somebody that they thought was the best that they could do, hypergamy, right?
Right.
So the reason why you exist today is because of selection. And if you're not getting results today, there's something wrong with something you're doing in your life. For the most part, I mean, there's some rare exceptions, but for the most part, I mean, what's the number? Like something like 3/4 of the North American population is fat. I mean, your looks improve dramatically just by losing some damn weight, you know?
No doubt. No doubt.